Welcome back to another video. Today I am discussing the next generation of anime and why it may never surpass the older generations. Now, I'm not saying that this generation of anime can supersede expectations, supersede everything. We know that it can, and it may, might as fact, will supersede what the old generation has done for, the anime community itself. What I mean is, since the anime right now is so plentiful and quantity is so much for us to take in, because anime is now a big production around the world, it's going to bring down the value. Now, the regular shonens, regular manhwas that are going to come out the beginning after the end, Mushoku no Tensei, Solo Leveling is on a generational run. They won't have any rewatch value. For example, you could rewatch Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, Gintama, Hitman Reborn, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And if you want to go older, Sailor Moon's a good rewatch sometimes. Dragon Ball Z, I recommend you rewatch it, but many people don't. Dragon Ball Z, Black Butler. I don't think Black Butler came out in the 90s, or even older Gundam animes if you really want to go into that. Even the gems of like the early 2010s to One Punch Man, Fairy Tail, One Punch Man. Fire Force is still going to be on just because Fire Force, Fire Force is ending now. Dr. Stone will run for 1 or 2 more years. And that's kind of it for my generation of anime, with the Black Clovers, the My Heroes, the Jujutsu Kaisens. Like, that's ending, right? And whenever Black Clover will come back, but that's ending. Right now, this next generation with the Solo Levelings, the to beginning after the ends, the Mushoku no Tensei, the Dodans, anything, they don't, and Sakamoto Days, they don't have substantial story, or even Demon Slayer from our older generation. They don't have substantial stories. The stories is good and they keep you engaged to a modest amount, but they're not anything for you to sit there and enjoy once you take away all the animation from it. Now, of course, this is if you're a fan of the manga before you jump into the anime, sure, but we all know that the anime does change things for the manga. It's not a one-to-one adaptation like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is. Barely any animes are one-to-one adaptations. They just don't do it because the art director and the anime director sometimes don't coexist with the manga creator. Sometimes they do, but sometimes it does change under supervision, right? But they don't have any fluctuant stories to rewatch. I will not rewatch Sakamoto Days unless, of course, I'm doing a video on it. Rewatching the Don is a hard rewatch just because of all the weird stuff around it, and the weird stuff that you have to go into knowing about the Don. As well as Solo Leveling is just really cool action. You could just search up the fight on YouTube, on different social media spaces, and watch the regular fight without substantially going into the episode itself and watching the episode. When they give you such an emotional or traumatic episode like Solo Leveling episode 9, many people hate on it. They call it filler, even though it's in the light novel / manhwa. So, what I would like is for the stories of these next generation of animes, and they've come out to say that more manhwas are going to come out as animes as Solo Leveling, beginning after the end, Mushoku no Tensei, have really set a good standard for it. Outside of the God of High School and Tower of God, those were messes, but outside of that, they did real good groundwork to let manhwas enter the anime space, right? There's just barely any story. And if there is story, right, it's so rapid, so fluid, so rapid at you that you don't really get a chance to breathe, which is the main complaint people had with Jujutsu Kaisen or even Black Clover. The story was going so fast that if you really decompress, evaluate the story, and really think about it, and once you have a talk with your friends, of course, while many people watch these animes, have a talk or engage in conversations with these animes, it's not really any story. Right, the characters are mainly flat. You don't really get to see the more progression of it, but they're mostly flat, and mostly they stay the same throughout the same show. And they're not as, they won't be as long as the older generations because they adopted. Older generations are more filled with filler and slow pacing that allows you to really get into the story chapter, episode by episode. While these next generations adapt maybe 4-5 chapters an episode. It's wild. Right? And they cut off so much content, they cut off so many character building moments within the story itself that it would be a great help to really enjoy in the anime. Now, animation, of course, is a big thing in anime, but that really helps the anime really be at the pinnacle. Demon Slayer has been doing it for years, even though it has a generic story. Right? And more of these animes are coming out being more generic with the story. But I won't rewatch Demon Slayer for a fact, and I won't rewatch any of the next generation's animes once they finish airing. Of course, once they're airing now, I'm watching them, love them, can't wait to make more content about them. But they just don't have the stories enough to be like compared, besides the big three, take out the big three, compared to the Full Metal Alchemist, the Fairy Tales, the One Punch. Yeah, I'm not gonna say One Punch Man. The Hitman Reborns. If you ever get a chance to rewatch Hitman Reborn, it's a good watch. Gintama, great story. Dragon Ball Z, great story. They don't have that substantial hold on these characters to really invest after the story is over. Anyway, like, subscribe. These are my thoughts, of course, talking about the next generation of anime and my problems with it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.